There, welcome to my channel. In this video I'd like to speak a little bit about Saturn in Capricorn and how it will affect Virgo sun sign, Virgo rising, because Saturn enters Capricorn, your fifth house, December 2017, and will affect this area of your life until March 2020. And the fifth house is all about optimism. It is about happiness. It is about going out and having fun and dating. It's about being childlike and children, of course, and romance and all the fun stuff in life and the sense of happiness also. And therefore Saturn, being a planet of karma, of restriction, teaches us in the fifth house to deal with reality, and it can create lessons when it comes to children and love. And during this transit, it's good to know that you might feel like you don't want to go out anymore, or maybe your social life feels restricted in some sense, filled with responsibilities. And you should take responsibility, especially for your children. It is not uncommon that during this transit children become a little bit more demanding, and you have to take care of them properly. A little mistake even can create problems like losing custody or things like that. It's good to know. It depends a little bit on the situation. Most people do put their children first, but there are situations when a little mistake or a day when you said, oh, that they are going to be okay, they are not, and things like that. So it's good to be careful if you have children and so on, and make sure that they have everything, that you don't forget them somewhere, or that you don't create a situation that might have negative consequences and so on, or that somebody misunderstands or misjudges a situation that can get you into trouble when it comes to children and custody. Some of you might even mourn that inner child. You might think about your childhood, and maybe you will see the happy times, but you could have a tendency to also look at the negative. And it's not wrong, just don't sink into those feelings. And with Saturn in your fifth house, you might not feel that happy. And even if you have pets also that you treat like your children, make also sure that you take care of them as well. It's possible that you feel a little bit more depressed. Some of you might even mourn the children that you never had, like maybe you feel, I'm too old to have children now, or things like that. Or you might miss your children even. Maybe they are going to school somewhere and you can't see them every day anymore. And there is this sensation of separation that can be a little bit depressing. So it's good to kind of get an Eckhart Tolle book or something like that, so that you can remind yourself to appreciate what is, to live in the moment when moments of sadness arise, because you have to deal with maybe with sentiments of sadness. Lessons in love life can also be learned during this transit, and Saturn will teach you not to fall for appearances. You could even fall in love with a con man, or somebody that sends you a great picture, on the internet, and you say, wow, what a great girl or guy, and it's a fake picture, and so on, and maybe somebody's trying to use you. So lessons in love, not to fall for appearances, for shallow things when it comes to love life. When it comes to creativity, you might not feel all that inspired, and it can also be frustrating. And therefore Saturn will teach you to create, but create something useful, because that skill can suddenly be enhanced. So if you do something that has a purpose, that you can use, that you can actually use. I don't know, you can make cups, you can make you know, doors and closets, or whatever else you could use, pots for flowers and so on. If you are a creative writer, it's better if you, it will be easier for you to write instructions or a practical guide to something, rather than just or writing about science, rather than just coming up with all kinds of stories, because it might be a little bit difficult with Saturn in the 5th house. But this transit can also be very meaningful, because you develop so much as a person. You learn to be in the present, to appreciate what is. You learn all these practical creative skills that might help you actually in the future. Maybe someday in the future you will be able to get something done without the help of a carpenter, as in my example. Or you could turn your creative skill into a business or a work, and you start making money from it. You could also develop that all those practical creative skills that you have, how to make something look good and be practical at the same time. So this can have this could be also a great transit as well. But with Saturn, it's always our willingness also to take the hard road, to do the work on ourselves, that is important. Otherwise you'll go through this transit, you will hope that it's overwhelmed by all kinds of bad memories and depression, and you did nothing about it, you know. So it's more empowering to try and do something about it. And until November 8th, 2018, Saturn will be in a sextile to planet Jupiter, planet of luck and expansion, in your 3rd house of communication. And it's possible that there's something you can do in the neighborhood, of course, some cooperation with brothers and sisters, or people in your neighborhood, because of something practical, you know. Maybe you want to get the neighborhood organized, or to build a fence there, or to repair something, or whatever it might be. You could also, as I said, write something, you know, develop your skill of writing scientific articles, or as I said, a guidebook to teach others. Learn new skills, new practical skills. And there will be eventually also this trine to Uranus in Taurus, which is your 9th house of long distance travel, higher education, long distance relationship. So again, there's an emphasis on learning and on actually having new insights, new creative ideas on how to make use of something in a practical way. Could be like that. Could also be a sudden invitation to travel, maybe with a purpose somewhere as well. So we might even learn making home pages, or design home pages and things like that, or doing webinars, or offering somebody online some of your knowledge, teaching, not necessarily children. So this is all I have to say about this transit. I can't think of anything else right now. I really hope that I covered everything. I wish you a great Saturn transit through Capricorn. Thank you for watching.